the season to be in the kitchen, whether you're hosting an event, heading to a friend's house, or cooking a traditional meal for your family. Whatever the reason, you will be spending more time in your kitchen, so why not start thinking of ways you can go green? Joining us now is McWilliams. She is the host of the Green Divas radio show, and thanks for coming back here on Ebru today.
Thanks, Mia. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, so everybody's going to be in the kitchen, so let's talk about what a green kitchen is before we even get started on all these things that you brought us.
Well, a green kitchen, you know, I'm going to be in the kitchen preparing my big feast of gratitude for and here in the U.S. we do our Thanksgiving feast. And I think of kitchen as, of course, you want it to be yummy, producing yummy food, healthy, earth-friendly, and low stress. A green diva has to have a low stress.
That's right. You got to have low stress if you're going to be a diva.
So we think about things like, you know, paper waste, right? Paper products make up 1/3 of all the domestic waste that goes into municipal waste.
Is that right?
Yeah.
1/3?
So I think, you know, it's a good case for
cloth napkins. Why not?
And some folks will say that a cloth napkin takes more energy to produce, but you use it 100 more times than you would one paper napkin.
Okay, so you have some other goodies over here as well. I see some jars over here. Not quite sure. I think that's cranberries.
These are dried cranberries. You know, buying food in bulk, and I don't mean the big 6-gallon drum of mayonnaise, but buying dry goods in particular in bulk can not only save from packaging, you know, going into landfills and garbage and reduce your garbage, but it can save money. These cranberries right here were 98% less expensive than their packaged counterparts.
Wow, I never would have guessed that, to tell you the truth.
So, you know, we're all about saving money here too.
And over here, what do you have? You have just some cans and a little plastic
some recycling container? Because, you know, 80% of what we put in the garbage is recyclable here in the U.S., but guess what the statistics are on our rate of recycling? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Okay, I'll go with 50%. That's right down the middle.
It's only 28%.
You're kidding
me. Only 28%. And I think a lot of it is education and understanding that I have a couple of cereal boxes that you can fold those up easily and put them in the recycling with your other paper products.
Okay. And I see over there at the end you have a stainless steel bucket. And
this is a kitchen compost bin.
Really?
And I compost in my kitchen. And not everybody has a garden, composts or whatnot, but there are more and more community gardens starting up, and there are actually community compost programs. They will give you a bin to put outside, you fill it up, they pick it up for you. And of course, to keep it from being stinky, because some people are concerned about having a stinky compost, mine is never stinky. You don't use any meat or dairy products at all, just mostly grains and veggies and fruits.
Okay, so we have all these things, but we have our green kitchen now. What about some green products that we're going to like cook with? And do we want to go organic?
Well, yeah, and we've talked about food before, and I think food choices are a big way of, and what we stock our kitchen with is how we can be greener in the kitchen. One of the things I wanted to talk about was sponges, because most sponges are made of plastic. Okay. They have dyes in them. And by the way, plastic doesn't biodegrade. Well, they project that it'll take 500 to 1,000 years to biodegrade. Think about how many sponges we use, right? Ew. Anyway, so buying sponges, I don't have any with me, but buying sponges that are made from natural, sustainable materials like cellulose, which is made of wood fiber, believe it or not.
So when you actually look at the product, you should look for cellulose.
Yes. The other thing that is in many sponges is triclosan, which is a synthetic disinfectant. It's not good for the environment. It's definitely not good for us.
Wow.
So these other, and anyway, these are, what I'm pointing to, are dish towels.
Okay.
And I keep a bunch of them right by my sink. They're just as easy to grab as a paper towel.
And I would say by the time you wash a whole load of those, it's probably cheaper and better for the environment.
Yeah, and actually, you know, you throw a couple of them in with the rest of your wash and it really doesn't cost any more or take any more energy.
And okay, so we've got the green products. What about things like a green stove and things like that that we want to improve on the environment as well?
Like Energy Star products. Yeah. Well, and there's all kinds of wonderful products out there. Now those are a little bit more costly upgrades, of course. But I just thought I would talk today about the things that are so easy to do and don't cost any money and actually might save us some money.
Okay.
And one thing I want to talk about is when we go shopping. remembering to bring reusable
Something
bags.
I always forget when I go. I say
Well,
I
yeah.
want to recycle, and then I get there and I don't have my bag.
Well, the trick is to remember to bring it to the car and then bring it into the store.
All right, I'm going to remember that.
But, you know, plastic bags are like the scourge of our environment. They really are. And there's so many statistics.
I agree and I disagree on that one, only because I do use the plastic bags, but I will use them as garbage bags when I get home.
Right.
So I do counter it with that.
That's wonderful, and I reuse them when I have them too, as many times as I can. But like I'm sure you've heard about the Great Pacific garbage patch that's floating around out there in the Pacific Ocean. It's supposedly the size of Texas.
Wow.
3.5 million tons is its estimated weight, and 80% of it is plastic.
Oh, that's
and of
just
course, a large
heartbreaking when you
percentage
think
of
about
that are these plastic bags.
Yeah.
They just don't biodegrade, and they're responsible for up to 1 million deaths of ocean animals.
Yeah, no, I studied marine biology, and that was one of the things, the little plastic caps in the plastic bags. So yeah, definitely some great tips. Thank you, Megan, for joining us again. Have a wonderful...
Real quick, can I just say
Sure,
that on
absolutely.
our website, we do have all kinds of information of how to find and how to use these kinds of things, thegreendivas.com.
thegreendivas.com. Thank you again. They're just terrific tips, and always a great reminder that these tips not only save money, but save the environment. So
Thanks,
thank you
Mia.
so much for
Happy
joining us.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.